Me, coming to you live. I agree with the notion of compassion to all living things. We are all connected. Our actions matter. Karma is a cycle of cause and effect. Virtuous actions create happiness, and non-virtuous actions create suffering. The forces of good and evil are prevalent in our daily lives, yet angels are immortal, benevolent beings traveling from the heavens to earth, protecting humanity. Perhaps the conversations of angels with humans throughout history suggest existence. Those prophets and saints speaking of divine visions delivered messages of hope. Truly, with hope, we can endure most anything we encounter. On our show, we have guests, topics such as ethereal beings, myths, legends, real-life phenomenon, empathy, tips to inner peace, visualizations, meditations. On our show today, I'm excited that we're going to have Peter Hansen, who's a psychic angelic channeler. But before Peter comes on, I would like us to do a relaxation visualization. He'll be here soon, but let's just do this so we can relax and let go of any kind of negativity or chaos that's going on in the world outside our personal space. So I'm going to show this. Okay, here we go. Okay. With a visualization, we will create vivid mental images in our mind's eye, bringing positive emotions such as joy, happiness, and hope. Blessings. Our intention today is to clear away negative thoughts through glowing light. Let's realize connecting your mind, body, spirit to divine light will shed darkness in yourself and unblock your true purpose and passions. Your glowing visualization begins now. Please find a comfortable space, sit or lay down. Let's begin to relax our body and mind. Breathe out old energy and thoughts. All the thoughts before this moment, let's let go. Let's clear the way for light. Let's deeply breathe, inhale and exhale 3 times. I'd like you to scan your body for tension. From the top of your head, your crown chakra, to the tip of your toes. Let's bring awareness to your thoughts. Imagine being inside your brain. Quiet your mind. There's stillness. I don't know what you see in your brain, but let's imagine that you're inside your brain. What thoughts do you select? What do you automatically think about? Are these thoughts useful to you? Are they positive or negative? And do your thoughts circle back to the same thoughts? Our thoughts create our future, personality, and destiny. Let's begin to clear away negativity. You have a pure spirit. So try to open up more space inside your brain. I'd like you to visualize a bigger space. Open up more room inside your brain. Let's release all those thoughts that keep circling inside of your brain and make room for more light. Let's breathe them out. If you need to say them aloud, that's fine. So the space that you were using for all those thoughts that are not important, let's replace with light in that space, a glowing light. It's a peaceful and calming light. Let's breathe in fresh air and breathe out negative thoughts that you're carrying. I'd like you to imagine the biggest hope that you have, and I'd like you to leave it in that newfound space. For example, I like or want, and that's what you're going to leave in that space. You're having stillness. I will count backwards to 3, and you will open your eyes. 3, 2, 1. Okay, well, I think that helped me a little bit. I don't know about you. Okay, before we move on, our guest is coming. I would like us to say, or I will say and share with you, a Buddhist prayer. Now, let's focus on the meaning of this prayer. I love this prayer. I want to say it every day if I can remember. Okay, here we go. So with a boundless heart, should one cherish all living things, radiating kindness over the entire world, upwards towards the sky, downwards towards the depths, omitting none. May you be happy, may you be at ease, may you be free from danger, and may you be loved. That's lovely to me. Okay, next thing I would like to share with you, before our guests come on, I wanted to just mention, angels, because, that's our guest coming on is all about angels. And I wanted to talk a little bit. So I put up a little visual of an angel. So what are angels, right? I mean, I talk about it. My show's called Angels, God Me. So angels are spiritual, benevolent beings of divine wisdom. And they are supposedly messengers from God. I believe that. The heavens, protecting humanity. They're guiding us. We have 2 guardian angels minimum that are beside us. Now, angels are depicted in fine art in human form with halos and wings, and angels are made of light and they're immortal. There's 9 orders of angels. The highest is seraphim, then there's cherubim, thrones, dominions, virtues, powers, principalities, archangels, and guardian angels. And so angels have no physical cravings. They're made up of pure spirit, divine light. Angels are spirit guides, and they will help with spiritual intentions. Statistics say that 68% of Americans believe in angels. People are either completely in agreement that angels exist, or they mostly agree. Okay, well, I am going to now present. Let me tell you a little bit about him. His name is Peter Hansen. And Peter was in a coma 20 years ago, and he became even more connected to the angelic realm. He is well known for his abilities as an accomplished channeler, utilizing the unique connection with Archangel Gabriel. He receives messages from the angelic realm. His readings include viewing future probability, parallel realities, angelic healings, etheric cord cutting, which I want to talk to him about, parallel realities. He can help you with clearing away negativity from entities and unhealthy relationships. He offers us guidance in common life questions. This is important, as well as our spiritual journey. He focuses on the individual's personal harmony with psychic vision and healing power. He has 0 ego, and I can attest to that, and unconditional love. So let's bring on Peter. I know he's waiting. Oh, wait, here we come. Here we go. Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. I know it's only 6 a.m. there, but it's morning, and we want to start everyone's day with light and love. And I like the no ego.
Yeah,
So
I do too. Thank you for the great introduction, and I love your intro, just your whole start of the show. Just watching you, the message you're bringing to the world, and what you said about early in the morning is so important. That the way we start our day each day, because each moment is a new
yes,
consciousness. So it's important what vibration, what frequency, what energy we start our day with, because
yes.
that's what we do have control of. So it's the most important, one of the paramount ingredients, in our spiritual journey, is that learning how to transmute and hold that grid.
I really believe that. And I'm working on this motivational speaking, and I talk my first message is about light. And I realize myself, because I've had things happen and I couldn't figure out, how do I begin every day where I'm not have all this cluster from other stuff. And it's really about how you start your day and what you think of immediately, the moment you wake
Yeah.
up. And I'll talk about that another time, but I agree with everything you said, and I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you.
I did get someone that contacted me. She said, "No, no, no, I don't want to be on the phone, but I do want to ask a question." So I'll get to that, but I would like to first talk about and ask you about your psychic abilities. How do they come to you through Archangel Gabriel? Is it a message? Is it your sight? Is it a third eye? Are you in a trance? How does it come to you, the information, when you have a client, or let's say you have some kind of premonition? How does it come to you, Peter?
Well, it's layered. That's my individual experience. Of course, the work I've done, the clearing I've been doing throughout my life since my that's experience. You learn by integrating these energies and communicating and merging with the angelic to vibrate in that frequency the majority of the time. So you are being in that state all the time. So when I work with clients, I ask for permission. I have ways of ethically, them giving me that permission to enter, and connect with their higher self, energy melt, and feel what's going on in their body. So I'm actually coming from I connected with the archangels before the session, bring them in, allow them to work through me.
Mm-hmm.
And Gabriel is my guy, like or girl. It's masculine, feminine, and the messenger of God, and that's just the one that's been resonating and following me all along, and just basically guiding me along the way on my journey,
Mm-hmm.
and also being my in between, so to speak, my healing guide, you can say, too, but
Mm-hmm.
also the connector, and allowing me to, like you were mentioning earlier, about like how big a percentage of people who are comfortable with angels, and that's very helpful, like a diplomat, or a bridge, that allows people to open up, allows people to go deep within, but also showing those parts of themselves. Because when I energy melt with them with their permission, I can feel where those blockages are, or if there's any cords pulling, in the masculine and the feminine, and the giving or the taking, or any other way. It could be. It's not so much anymore. Like right now, people are, for the most part, working on it, or
Mm-hmm.
they're aware of it. So they addressing it and knowing that it's not all external. That's the whole point, is that we clear the layers that was built up around our heart,
Mm-hmm.
coming deep in within, where the real healing takes place. Because when we shift from the outside to the inside, and we take responsibility of our life situation, our reality, and we vibrate in a frequency where nothing can attach back to you. So it's not just cutting the cords. There's like etheric, and there's like physical. There's like layers. There's also the karmic programming, the habits we have, our thinking. What we do. Like we can have somebody cut our cords, but then we invite the right back in by, creating the same pattern again, or thinking the same way, or so it's important that each layer is being processed, because that's how we fully collapse that timeline, or that dimension, so we can operate at a higher frequency and a higher realm, and not experiencing those drains any longer.
Right. Huh.
But there's so much to it, I could speak about it for hours, because it's really, and it is individually from client to client too, So what I do when I work with a client, I go in and I energy meld with their permission and feel and identify the blockages or where there's any stuck energy, and then follow that trail or those cords, where to go to. Sometimes it's ancestral, sometimes it could be the father, it could be the mother, it could be a sibling, it could be a partner, it could be all kinds of, but also that goes back ancestrally years, lifetimes back. So, there's a deep wound that could be, the old feminine or masculine, which is both, seated in a victim mentality or fear. So bringing them out of that, allowing them to see the bigger perspective, but also it's not just the words, it's the frequency, it's the vibration. So when you go in with unconditional love and no ego, and you just show people like, this is, how you can feel, this is how it can be, it's like activating that inner guidance within them. So they're like, now they know what to look for. Before they wanted it, but they didn't know what it looked like, what it felt like. So that's very helpful, because then you kind of get a heads up, like, that's what I want,
Right.
And then you can tell the universe that, and then you can tune in for that, and you all the distractions and programming around you or in our daily lives will just not be as important, because now we like pinpointing, this is where I want to go.
Okay, before we move on, Peter, look, where are you looking right now? Because I feel like you're not looking there. That's where you should. So I see your eyes. You're looking over here. I'm like, wait a second.
It's so funny, because the pictures here on my screen is that you are over here.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So I'm looking at you.
So you're looking at me. So can you look over here so that I
Absolutely.
feel like, okay. Everything you said, I love, because I was actually looking into karmic celestial patterns. That's what you're referring to, correct? About generational. And I've had these conversations with other people in our, I want to say, industry, in the holistic practitioners, and it's about generational. And I'm asking you, what you just said related to when you're tuning into someone. So when you tune into someone, or however you're healing or helping or doing a session, are you actually touching them, or are you actually embracing their soul some way? How are you connecting to them to get this information? Like, do you go and, do you know what I'm saying? Because I know how I do it. How do you do it?
Well, go ahead. I energy melt, like I mentioned. So it could either be remotely, or it could be in person at my office, where I physically go in, and then like I have like some crystals I use to cord cutting.
Right.
I have some other tools, and I can do that remotely too. Have the Archangel come and be with the person where they're at, and they can feel that. And etherically, there is no limit, there is no separation. So it's just energetically go in, like I have their body if they're laying down in front of me, and I'm doing the same things, just remotely, like quantum leaping or remote viewing, so I can feel when you etherically go in and energy melt with somebody. You can be in Australia, you can be in Europe, you can be, I can feel the same way, because you energetically connecting, so I feel that, and then I listen to the guidance too, because it's not like you said, I can feel what they connect to, but also then I get all the guidance coming in. The angels are telling me, there's a story behind that, how that unfolded early in their life. There could be abuse, there could be some kind of trauma, usually. It could also be physical, like a surgery or a injury that either happened this lifetime or past lifetime. So really finding out what that's connected to, or if it's the dream state, up in the well of dreams, if there's jealousy around, or there's so many layers to that, and that's why it's so individual. But that's why it helps me so much by energy melding. Then I can feel it on my body during that time where I energy melt with them. So that's like, it's very precise that way, because I feel it, I can feel it in me,
So essentially, you're a conduit for the divine realm, the angels, as a healer. So it's almost like you're getting the information, like what you just said, it melds with you, right? And then you are kind of with it, so you know but you're coming from a perspective of overlooking. You're not feeling what that individual feeling, so you can, or
I actually am.
you are.
I can feel it, and that's the thing. It's not like I'm taking it all on. I'm just identifying it by feeling it physically in my body, by energy melding with them. So I can feel if there's any like pull or heaviness or cords, anything, you know, or blockages, wherever they're at. I feel that on my body during that time, and then I fully disconnect afterward. I have my boundaries set up. I have my healing guide coming in, giving me a healing between each session, making sure I don't take anything with me. But also, you know, when you channel, as you know, then, you know, it's just coming through you. It's not coming through your brain. It's coming through you as a channel, you know, energetically, the light language. So it's like, people can ask me afterward and say, you said this and this, and oh, I did. Like, I don't remember sometimes.
Exactly.
You know?
I never remember. I said, you better remember, because I'm not going to remember. That's why sometimes I write it down. I'm like, I'm not going to remember because I can't. And then I don't even take it with me either. When with a client, if I write it down, I'm good. Or if they remind me, but I'm not remembering the secrets, do you know what I'm saying? I'm not connecting to that information. It's more like I get their energy, their personality, their mood, their light. I get their heart. So, okay, let's ask about, when you just held up the gemstone, about.
It's a quartz crystal, actually, yeah.
Oh, it's a quartz crystal. Etheric cord cutting. Tell me about that. Is that what that's for?
It is. I use this one for that.
You know what? Here I am, bad with the tech. I'm going to pull up a picture because, here we go. There's your name, but this is what I wanted to show, which is related to that, correct? Because is it heart to heart that you're cord cutting, or is it other?
It could be anywhere, basically. It could be in the back of, you know, on your back and your neck, and you know, it could be placed different places depending on what kind of trauma or in that. But usually it is from the heart space, front or back, or solar plexus, or sacral or root, usually ancestral stuff, a lot of times in the front for that part, you know, in the majority of cases. But then there's sometimes that some people, you know, as we're going through our ascension journey, or we're caretakers, then there is like a heavy weight on, you know, you can just feel on the back, they're carrying all these souls with them without shifting that perspective or shifting out of that. So it's like enabling them instead of taking all that on and carrying it with them and believing that's just my journey, you know. Like, there's a point where we let go of that and we fully merge and we change the story, change the vibration, because everything is frequency. So it's really about learning how to transmute and you know, be the light and everything, but without separation, into oneness, where you teach others to do itself, you know, themselves, activating them, so you don't just fix it for them. That's what we used to do, and we're in a very different time now.
So I would like to define this, because so everyone understands. What we're talking about is we all have a cord that's connecting our heart to, and the cord goes out. It's an invisible cord. Some of us can sense other people's cords, and I can see like the color of a cord reaching to someone, to their heart. So we have a cord going from our heart to pretty much everyone that we've come in contact with, correct? I mean, and depending on the relationship, it's going to be a stronger cord. And what we're talking about is cutting the cord so that is not hindering you with personal boundaries for your own self. It's protection. I want to ask you, if, you know, I found this about cutting the cord, it's not something that should be done. It should be done very discreetly, because when it's done, it can leave the person having a really hard time reconnecting or never connecting with that person again, correct?
Well, again, there's different perspectives on that, you know. Like, you don't want to serve the old if it's not serving the whole anymore, you know. So that's really the point by cutting the cord, is that you don't want to hang on to that. There's a reason why we're cutting it, right? So finding a new balance with it. If they're supposed to still be in your life experience and you still have a soul contract with them, then they will be there. you know, and there's a reason why it comes up to be cut. And you know, there's different ways. You can use crystals to cut. You can use thoughts. You know, you can pull out of your heart. You can pull out cords. You know, and it's a good maintenance to actually do, because then you clearing all timelines together as well. And there can be really deep ones with partners and you know, family that needs to go, that's very dysfunctional, and then allowing new ones. Yeah, because otherwise you're hanging on to that old energy, you know, in a sense, and those timelines. So you want to collapse those, and you want to cut the cords to them, and then create a better one. That's better, you know. You're collapsing the old and creating a better one, aligning energetically with a better version, where it's a much more healthy, you know, exchange of energies. Where before, usually with cords, there's one is pulling more than the other, and that's what sucks out the life out of you, you know.
Yeah. No, I truly agree with you, because I've done that. In fact, I'm going back in my mind while you're speaking, and I'm trying to remember when I did this, because I started doing this. I don't even know. It was a long time ago, because I saw my first kind of light worker healer type person. It had to be 25 years ago, maybe, and there wasn't as much knowledge about this, but that was around back then. Okay, I wanted to mention, so Maria Elizabeth contacted me and asked if you could explain soul contract, and I think you touched on that a moment ago.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you for the question. Soul contract, you know, like we have souls we're traveling with in different lifetimes, and now we're all here at this special lifetime where we're coming into the golden age, you know, and there's soul family. So everybody have different purposes or roles within your life experience individually, like in yours and mine. So we make contracts with souls throughout many lifetimes, and then and specifically in this one, they show up certain ways to help us either clear or bring something to our attention to, you know, have that soul experience. And it can bring up old scars. It can bring up, you know, beautiful things, you know, like it doesn't have to be good and bad. It's really, it's a life experience where sometimes for us to fully get it in our human self, you know, we need to be tested. We need to be triggered. And a lot of times that's what a lot of soul contracts do. They get under our skin in a way that we learn to handle it, and we learn to transmute that energy. And then another layer of that will come up a little later. It could be a different person or the same person, where the same kind of trigger is being triggered again. And then this time it's not as heavy on you. And that's a part of the ascension process. We just clearing it step by step. That's one part of the soul contract, you know, but there's others too. It could be having a child together, bring somebody into this world. It could be playing out a big part of your life experience in this lifetime, you know, like having a major role or a small role. It varies. There's so many, you know, variables to that.
And what I'm understanding is a soul contract is your contract, not with yourself. You're a contract that your soul has with other people, other life force.
Yes, that's the perception you have in one dimension. As you go higher and higher and higher, it all comes into oneness. So this is all, you come into such a oneness where you know that you actually asked them to, you created them. So you created these contracts, you created these triggers, you created this all as a part of your ascension journey. When you come into full, you know, ownership of the whole experience, because there is no victim. You know, when you're in the third dimension, the fourth dimension, then there is victim mentality. But when you're coming into the higher self, into the divine feminine, divine masculine, there is no blame. There is no outside versus inside. The answer is always within. So when you learn to embody that, hold that frequency, then all that life experience or those contracts kind of goes away, because then you join together in unity, and that's the unity collective consciousness where we come together and co-create together. So at that point, it's coming into from soul contracts into, you know, working together as one.
When you travel astral traveling,
Uh-huh.
and you just spoke of different realms. Have you traveled for yourself or for others that you can see what we call heaven, or where other angels reside, besides the angels that are connected to us, like I say guardian angels or archangels? Do you see heaven? What do you see?
Absolutely. There can be guided meditations, there can be, lucid dreaming, just visions, but also like traveling together and when you're in a super high state, consciousness, going to Atlantis, going, flying around from reality to reality, or like floating islands of dirt, in a sense, like land masses with buildings on, and like you see in the Asian cartoons, kind of like that, where you just jump off and you fly to the next, and angels are all over, and heaven on earth. We are the conduits, we are the creators of heaven on earth at this point, so that's really like we are creating it by connecting to it, and also visualizing it, but also incorporating that in our life as what we see, bring that into our present reality, voice it out like we're doing right now, talking about it. So do I feel it? Absolutely. And that's the thing, when you learn to keep yourself in a frequency or a vibrational state, 5th dimensions and higher, which is basically all of them, then you gain access to that. When you see that unity, you see that unconditional love, you see what life is about without all that separation and duality. It comes together, and that is heaven. Heaven on earth starts here within. It's not out there. And that's the misconception, like that's when you learn to come in within and fix yourself and hold your frequency and hold your energy and get yourself back to that energy and project that energy, think that way, be that way, talk that way, love that way, do all of it, everything that way, because you are a embodiment of God and source. We all are.
And I wonder, and I actually hope for that, when there's more of us and more people that we're helping to guide, and we are receiving information about light, and like you're saying, love, and I say a glowing light in our hearts. If there's more of us, I believe that it will help empower everyone else, so we can spread it. It's like I'm telling, this person who's telling this person who's telling this person, and then more of us can bring goodness to the world and take away negativity and evil. Do you also believe that this, like, what we're doing is actually really positive for humanity, because we're trying to bring light to take away negativity?
Absolutely, but it comes with responsibility when we start, say, putting ourselves at service, meaning that, we have a responsibility to hold that frequency, hold that grid, be gatekeepers in a sense, holding the frequency, even regardless of how other people are acting on the outside. That's their journey, that's where they're at, without judgment, just holding your frequency. And that's the thing about the 3rd and the 4th dimension, we went through, is that it was always looking to blame something, or looking for a cause, like where, the real resolution and the balance and, inner work is inside, is that finding that peace, or clear any kind of distraction or duality that's keeping you away from that stillness, that 0 point energy, where you find this inner glow, and the light just becomes stronger and stronger, because there's nothing dimming it any longer. There's nothing encapsulating, there's nothing pulling it away or talking you out of it. And that's that inner work, is that you really have to, surrender and put yourself fully out there. And a part of it is being the student and the teacher, so it goes back and forth. Is that, you activate something within you, and somebody else activated that within them, that guided you to study their ways, or you mastering that kind of consciousness, and then you becoming that consciousness, and then you pass that on to whoever's ready for that next. And when you do, you embodying it even deeper, because you're hearing yourself speak, you vibrating it you're teaching from experience, not from a book. So it's like, that's really what it comes down to, is that everything we go through in our ascension journey is the hand-on experience, where what we went through and how that felt. And that's what helps others, because if we didn't feel it, we can't just translate that into words. It's a feeling, it's a vibration. So learning how to balance those frequencies and transmute them and pass them on. And again, without any judgment, because, that's so easy to be caught up in that blame game,
Yeah, it's not. I think of things as that this is where I'm at, and everyone's time is different. So, and that's completely up to whatever works for them, because you can't walk in other people's shoes. So, whatever works for them or whatever they're willing to embrace is completely it's all different. Everyone's going to be different. Everyone's going to move into this, or maybe not choose to, at a different time. They could be like a small child and figuring things out, or they could be right before they pass. I wanted to touch on, I just mentioned negativity, and how can we remove, I know this is a specialty of yours, negative energy or negative entities. How can we do that? Like, what do you suggest for us?
Well, identifying them first and foremost, that's most important. When we see that something that's dysfunctional, that's not serving your higher self or the whole, then choose or identify what is the opposite of that. So there's a lot of hands-on. It's like, you can shift that energy, you can flip the coin, you can shift the perspective at any time. You have that choice. So it's really about the inner communication. Who am I listening to? Am I listening to the old programming, the conditioned self, the linear self, or am I listening to a higher self who is honoring the whole, who's honoring your journey, who's honoring your soul? So it's not a blame game. Again, it's just about you communicating within. Who am I listening to? Am I listening to old programming? And at first, as we waking up again, coming out of the fog, there will be ups and downs, but sometimes we fall asleep again. So it's really about monitoring ourselves and supporting ourselves without judgments. And like you mentioned too, like some people, they reach their deathbed before they surrender, or that's their choice, and that's true. But what we can do individually, of course, not judging, but not just judging is just one part of it. It's how we think and speak. If we come from fear-based, it's a very different frequency than unconditional love. So we can say we don't judge anyone, but if we come from fear and just like, oh, stay away from me because you're bad, kind of thing, that's a different energy. You're not coming from in that, merging together as collective union, So you holding your grid, or you holding your frequency and your consciousness from unconditional love is that, I know, I respect, I honor your journey where you're at right now. But I know that you have to go through certain experiences for you to learn and vibrate and get to the next level, in a sense, And it's not about comparing or anything like that. It's just honoring the other one. But coming from love, then also, like, if, let's say, somebody was trying to trigger you, in a sense, because that's what the lower consciousness does, and you respond to it with unconditional love, it stops right there. If you respond to it with fear or with fighting back, it just feeds it, So you disarm it right there, and then they will either move on to find somebody else, or they will stick around because they feel, that feels pretty good. I didn't expect that, but let me see what's next. And that's just the beginning part, where people are allowing the light to come in deeper and deeper, and allowing the shift and the change, but that inner guidance and honoring their soul's journey. And there's a mass awakening going on right now. It's what we're talking about today is what we've been dealing with for many years. This way of doing things, this mass awakening going on now, and the golden age we're coming into it's bypassing a lot of that, because the codes coming in, the light language coming in, the waves of energy, protonic light, gamma light, crystalline light. It's all raising everybody's vibration. So it's bringing everybody to a vibration or a frequency or consciousness where all those old problems or ways of dealing with doesn't exist any longer. So we kind of fast tracking or quantum leaping out of it, just shifting timelines, collapsing the old world or Earth, and then creating the new and fully entering that new way of living where we don't have to fix the old, we're just creating the new. So that's really exciting. Just seeing that and feeling that on a world stage, like not everybody's seeing that yet. Some of us do, and we know that everybody else will see that too when they're ready.
I agree. I like what you said when you were talking about perspective, and there are, to me, letting go of the old programming, like you said, because I say there's 1,000 responses. People say, well, this is how you respond to this. You just don't know what you can't jump to that. You have to live in the moment. There's 1,000 responses to every question. You don't have to answer the question or respond or react the same way. You can have an alternate response, and you can come from a place of light. And like you said, holding the what term did you use? Holding the
vibration, or holding the grid, or holding that consciousness, basically, because everything is vibration.
Yes, holding the consciousness and non-judgment. It's not about judgment. And it's almost like, I say it's not about a mass of people connecting. It's more like, small, like baby steps, little by little, it's just like one person. And I found that with my own self when I've worked with a client and I think, oh, I'm not really doing anything. And it kind of, the response back from the person that I worked with can possibly be a half hour later, or it can be 5 weeks later or 3 months later. And it comes through as validation to me, something they say like, oh, this happened, or thank you so much. And so I know that what I'm doing is helping in some way. And that's really all that I'm trying to do. I'm just really just trying to help, and it's like I have to. I don't even have a choice in this. I have to.
But you want to too,
I want to, but it's like
purpose.
I help myself. Let's see. I want to just make sure.
If you can jump in here, like those mirrors, when you see that too, it's a revelation too of all the work you've done, like, you know what I mean? Like for you to see that way, and you get these insights, and you work with clients, you see that mirror back. That's also for you to see how far you came and how much work and how you're now seeing it from a higher perspective, and it's not triggering you the same way any longer. But you were there at one point, so that's why you can see the difference. You can see that, oh, that's where they're at right now, and you're now seeing it from a higher perspective. So it kind of give you a perspective of where you at that moment. And it will help you also guide them, because then you know what happened in between.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it actually, it's funny because people say, oh, does this take so much out of you, this work? And it actually, it gives me so much. It's doesn't take away. I mean, you have to really focus, and you have to really be in it's a serious thing. And that's actually, what takes something out of you, because you are determined to kind of use whatever you can, like as a conduit, like I said, to engage with that person and help them to whatever they need, help them with their journey, their spiritual journey, awakening and bringing consciousness and awareness. That's really what this is all about, is about timing, is when someone becomes aware and they become awakened. It can be like a little kernel of some kind of thing. You can meet with someone maybe who knows how many times, and then all of a sudden something clicks with them, and then it starts to come, and maybe it's just a little kernel of something you said, and it just changes them. And people can grow and transform. I know that. People don't have to necessarily be stuck in the same place. People can grow and change if they choose to.
Absolutely.
That's my perspective. Okay, so is there anything you would like to share with us? I want to bring up that you have an Instagram, Peter Hansen Angelic Psychic. You have a fantastic Facebook page, Peter Hansen Channeling Archangel.com. And you do have a YouTube channel that I was looking at videos, which were wonderful.
Well, thank you.
Can you tell us, before you go, anything about the YouTube page? Because that's one way of people, without contacting you personally, they can see your work. Is there anything you'd like to mention about
Well,
that?
absolutely. I need to update it and put some new videos on. I just been focusing my energy in other areas, at the time, a lot of mentorships and so forth. And but it's really a wonderful, like you said, way for people to feel that frequency and feel the energy. And watching shows like this, interviews, hands-on communication. But like it is much more than just the words. It's the frequency, it's the consciousness that's activating and planting that seed within the receiver, where, I resonate with that, or they're just connecting those dots that was kind of separated before. But go to my website, you can learn about me reading through that, and then Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, and there's, whatever you feel guided to. And I think that's the bottom line with everything we do, with the healer you choose, or the whatever source you choose in your path or in your life's journey, is that follow your heart. What resonates with you is the right one. So don't, get too caught up in the review. Well, the reviews are really good, but listen to you, what resonates with you, what makes you feel comfortable and safe.
Yes, I did put your website is on this post.
Awesome.
So if someone would like to find you that way. And you mentioned mentorship, and can you tell us what that is?
I do a 12-week program, or sometimes longer, or it's either once or twice or 3 times a week, depending on what kind of commitment people are making and how fast they want to happen. So it's really like, for a continual period of time, to deprogram, finding all the triggers, finding all the old dense energies within our behavior, and our habits, and clearing that out. In relationships, in daily life, is like really identifying and clearing that, so we don't repeat, and having a guide by your side who can see it, and connecting with your higher self. That's what I do, because I went through this. So guiding somebody through that part of their journey is just accelerating their journey so much, like allowing them to come back and feel what that feels like to be yourself, basically, like taking all those other belief systems away, you being yourself more than you ever have, clearing it, and then deprogramming, creating new habits or daily, tools, and what am I saying here? Integrating, sorry.
You're doing just fine.
Yes, thank you. So it's really about, like, you just reprogram yourself, like you let go of the old, and you bring in the new, and you connect so deep that you learn how to listen, and trust, letting go of the old programming that took us out of that and kept bringing us into that wheel. So it really, that's been really successful for me, and I have a lot of clients going on right now, doing mentorship. So that's what I put my main focus into, because I see firsthand, like we talked about earlier, everybody's different. So each program or each client is different, of course. We all come with different backgrounds, different plots, different, purposes. So it's really about identifying and then guiding people through the worst storm of their life, in a sense, because it is the awakening journey, where there's so many questions, there's so many belief systems that just have to go away, that's not serving any longer. They did before. So without judgment, letting go of the old and stepping into the new, where you actually become the conscious creator, and you trust that, and you start owning it and being it all the time. That is the key, because then all that separation just falls away, and life just becomes so much simpler and easier, which it should be. It's just we as humans made it so difficult. We had all these impulses and
Yes, I get it. I am so happy that you are here today. It was good for me. It was, you're just a great person, great energy, and you have a wonderful spirit. And the fact that you're willing to share this information about how to do this is so helpful, because, I know it takes a long time to know all of what you know. It takes a lot of work to figure this out and to understand it and then be able to utilize it. And so I am really grateful. And I'm happy that you came on today, because we have Thanksgiving coming up tomorrow, and we should all be grateful. And I'm really grateful for you and for what you do. And I wish you well, and I know you're going to come on again another time. And when I have a network show and I'm on television, you'll be on that show too.
I look forward to that.
Okay, so we are thanking you, and we hope that you have a lovely day. And I will text you after. And I'm so glad that you're here, Peter. And I hope you have a great day.
Thank you. You too. And thank you for having me.
Okay, have a great day. I'll see you soon.
You too. Love and light.
All right, bye.
Bye.
That was such a good way to start my day. I've had Peter on episodes ago when I did this last season, and it's interesting how I understand more of what he's telling me, and maybe I've moved up to another level. I don't know. Hopefully. Before we go, because we're way past our time, I wanted to just tell you about, I had a guest on a few weeks ago, and his name is Ken Gerhard, and he is a cryptozoologist, and this is one of his books. And unfortunately, I couldn't show it when he was here because I hadn't received it, and it's wonderful. And this book, actually, it's from 2020. It's new. And there's chapters in this book on werewolves, sea monsters, enormous eagles, dragons. And a favorite chapter of mine, funny enough, is phantoms, fairies, and mermaids. And he talks about different sightings, mermaid sightings. And here's one of the photos that he has, interpretation of a mermaid. So this is a fantastic book if you want to learn all about cryptozoology and cryptid creatures. And because I'm mentioning mermaids, I want to talk about them for a quick second, and we're going to go. So mermaid sightings, they came through in many cultures, Near East, Europe, Asia, Africa. They are symbols of good luck. And what is a mermaid? A mermaid is known to have flowing hair. She is half human, half sea creature. She has the head and trunk of a woman and then the tail of a fish. Usually depicted as beautiful. But from sightings, that's not always the case. Now, this is what we all in our culture see as mermaids. And so in the book, he talks about in the Mermen, 1955, there were sightings. World War II, a period, there was a sailor, Ren Millard, and he actually saw a mermaid, he says, and she was a female, and but her features were not beautiful. She had coarse features, actually. She had a long nose, and she had 2 thumbs per hand, and she was not attractive, but I don't know how you can live in the water and look so beautiful. Okay, well, moving on, I just want to say before we go, our gemstone today is a carnelian. Carnelian. So let me just show you that, because I think this will be very helpful for all of us. Because I gotta get it. Okay. So this actually, it's a brownish orange stone, and it restores vitality and motivation and stimulates creativity. It gives courage, promotes positive life choices. It dispels apathy and motivates for success. It's useful for overcoming abuse of any kind, and it helps in trusting yourself and your perceptions. It overcomes negative conditioning and encourages steadfastness. It improves analytic abilities, clarifies perception, it sharpens concentration, and dispels mental lethargy. It protects against envy, rage, and resentment. We all need this. It calms anger and banishes emotional negativity and replaces with love of life. It boosts fertility. Okay, I'm putting that on my heart right now. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and I'm wishing everyone a happy holiday weekend. The upcoming guests are, I would say, in the realm of real-life phenomenon, myths, legends, UFOs, aliens, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, coming up, and dream analysis. I'm excited about that. I would like to end the show by saying thank you for joining me, and please, if you can, like my Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram page, Mary Amy Official. And you can contact me at Mary Amy Official. Let's construct only positive thoughts, words, and actions. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a joyful day. Let's let negativity go and bring in positive light. Have a great day.